Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamer Dad channel. It's a slow day at the office, so I decided that we would drop a video like this, which is something that's actually always been a small curiosity about, the way I think about The Division and Destiny 2. I usually wonder what external sources think about both games. Now, Game Rant's Azrael Aurelio did an article here saying 5 things The Division 2 does better than Destiny 2 and 5 things it does worse. So after doing some comparisons, the author actually brings some points to light, and I thought we should go over them. So fasten your seatbelt. This video might take a little longer, and I hope you are able to comment and all of the above. But if you're driving, don't comment. Comment later. Just listen and drive safe. All right. Destiny 2 is free to play. This is the first point that the author brings up. And they say one of the main leverages Destiny 2 has over the Division 2 or any other looter shooter out there for that matter is that it's free to play. Costing absolutely $0, players are treated to an amazing MMORPG with a stunning and varied open world. Or, in this case, an open galaxy. It costs nothing to experience Destiny 2's breathtaking content that puts a lot of $60 to shame. What this says, what this does is it brings a larger community, allowing for a more thriving multiplayer and co-op experience. The Division 2, on the other hand, constantly goes on sale, sometimes reaching a 95% discount, but even a $5 price tag is exponentially pricier than free. I guess from the base game aspect, yes, if you actually were to make that comparison, but Destiny pulls you into a place where once you get to that part, because it's an MMORPG, either way, these games have to, in a sense, earn a little bit more money from you because they have expanded past their base game for more content, more items, possibly, potentially more, I would say experiences that you never got with the base game. So I don't think this makes the comparison easy or makes this fair. And again, the Division, when it goes on sale for like $9 to buy like the Warlords of New York, edition, sometimes as little as under $20. I mean, I guess it's a steal at that point. Now, Destiny, on the other hand, their DLCs aren't cheap. I mean, I bought the other Destiny. I got the one that came out in, I can't remember, the Destiny 2 DLC called, oh, I can't remember the name, man. It's some DLC that came out a few years ago. I think it was somewhere around 2020. And I paid like $40 for that thing on Steam. And that was no small price. The Division 2's Warlords of New York, I paid at the time it came out in the base price, I paid $29 as a whole. So this is actually kind of a big deal, I mean, it's not something where Destiny is like just saying, hey, everybody come in here free to play. They're selling and marketing different DLCs that do provide some content with it. So those of you who are Destiny players as well as Division players, please comment below for people to know the value proposition that's available in, both these games. Now, the article says number 9, basically they're doing it a rank down. Division 2 has a better open world. Now, this is actually true. The Division 2, while Destiny 2 boasts an entire galaxy to explore with each planet being varied with biomes and enemy types, Division 2 manages to make a ruined Washington, D.C. tell a story. What the world of the Division 2 lacks in Destiny's verticality and platform, it makes up in puzzles, content, random events, hidden areas, and overall complexity. Each square inch of the Division 2's world has something to say. Each room conceals a side mission, and each collectible in the world reveals deeper lore about the game outside that of main missions. Players can stumble upon a building, and next thing they know, they're in for a boss fight. Well, I guess that's their way of looking at it. In our way of looking at it, we see it as a game that is somewhat following a realistic pattern in a real world setting, in a real world depiction. I mean, we're coming from New York, so there's context behind that open world analysis. From New York, what we got was a one-to-one representation of New York, number one. We got a dark New York, the one that had that vibe of a really cool game. The Division 1 kind of yanked at your heartstrings with the way the open world looked. You know what I mean? So coming to Division 2, nothing less was expected, even though they changed from a much more dark theme to a more brighter theme, kind of allowing for a bit more, happy, yippee type, environment compared to Division 1's grim environment. It still was imperative for them to go ahead and tell a story. Plus, I wonder why they didn't even cover this. Maybe they don't know this. The DC map is a one-to-one representation of DC, of the area of DC itself, compared to their New York depiction, which, even though it was very close, was not a one-to-one ratio in the map. So that's a huge deal. It's an open world that has a lot of detail and work that went into its development. Whereas Destiny, has decided to, follow its lore, which an expansive galaxy, but with all of the wasteland and all of that stuff, that's also, Destiny's aesthetic. One thing people cannot, argue against though is if you take somebody walking down the streets of the Division, they're usually stunned. I usually show people who've never played the Division like footage from it, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, look at how is this a game?" That's usually the reaction that I get from it. So I can see where this author might be coming from. So Destiny 2, more exploration. Naturally, if your open world is that big, then you have, more open space. We're not even going to sit down here. Author says the Division 2 has better co-op. I think the Division 2 does have better co-op. Destiny and the Division are both very dynamic co-op games. Both allow for up to a 4-player party in a mission. The main difference is Destiny allows players to select from 3 different classes, each with 3 different specializations of their own. The Division allows players to select 2 abilities from a selection of 8 different gadgets. Wow. You could tell this person is not really a Division agent, but it is what it is. We got to give some grace for people who are kind of new in the community. We call these skills, even they are skills. We know they're gadgets, but even the game officially depicts them as skills, each having 3 or 4 different modifications. Different gadgets can be used in combination with each other for powerful effects. Hence, the Division allows for more varied builds and specializations, but also more dynamic chemistry, thereby creating a more changing party. This is a little conflated. I would have written this differently. For the co-op, I guess you can say co-op missions will be something I would probably talk about, and then I'll go ahead and talk about builds in a whole different light. Because this conflates these gadgets. These gadgets work with our gear. Like in a Division agent, if you've never played Division and you're watching this video, every single item that you have, your backpack, your gloves, your knee pads, you have a mask and you have a chest piece, these things carry inherent statistics with them that can interact with your, in quote, gadgets, and you can pretty much run different combinations with them. As for specializations, when they use the word specializations, they use it loosely as well. So I would recommend that you also go ahead and check out the Division where we have what we call specialization weapons. These are weapons that you can actually use in different scenarios of different weapons, and they actually have different characteristics as well. And they come with an expansive skill tree that you can actually rank up to grant yourself a lot more either damage bonus or damage buffs or different team buffs, which makes it even way more dynamic than this paragraph actually does. And I understand the author may not be in too deep with both games. I don't know how y'all do it. Those of you who play both games, I salute you, man. It's insane. It says Destiny 2 has better combat. I would say dynamic combat, because there is a reason for both games. But let me read this. It says, if playing the Division feels like controlling the Men in Black or any spy movie with fancy tech, then playing Destiny feels like playing as the Avengers. While the Division allows for more builds and gadget combinations, which is something I just said, Destiny 2's classes perform much differently from the other. Combat in Destiny 2 also caters to a more action-loving enthusiast, with its high-impact energy attacks, devastating special abilities, and better overall mobility. This results in faster-paced, harder-hitting fighting that outdoes the Division's tactical military approach. It doesn't outdo it, it's just fitting for the context of what the designers and even the lore and story demand. I guess I can put it that way. On top of this, Destiny 2 has more varied weapon choices than the Division 2. Yes, I think so. I mean, I ain't tripping. I mean, yes, they do, but the Division has more in-depth mechanics for its weapons. How about that? This is a tie. I don't know. Well, I guess this is the author's opinion. And then it says, weapons of Destiny 2 range from typical SMGs and sniper rifles to swords and plasma cannons. Okay, I guess when it comes to awesomeness, I've seen those Destiny 2 finishers, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty sick. There's no doubt about that. You get what I mean? But, I think in terms of, say, it's hard to compare them, but this would have been a hard article to write for anyone, in my opinion. So I guess I could just leave this here. Division 2 better PvP. Ooh, no. Okay. Okay. Maybe I should just end this video here and then allow for my comment section to get ripped apart. This says Destiny 2's PvP has 2 modes. In Crucible, players battle over other Guardians in various solo or team-based formats, while in Gambit, teams race to finish a set of objectives. While all this sounds great, the Division 2 takes the cake with its more complex mode, known as the Dark Zones. I don't even know what to say. I'm laughing from pain. And I'm also laughing from the ridiculosity or ridiculousness. I don't even know how to put the word. I just made up a word just for this. This is crazy. I mean, I'm in trouble for even opening this article. This author, Aurelio, you have ruined my channel's prospects for saying the things that you have written on this article, because I can guarantee you that there is a huge number of people who have played the PvP in the Division 2 and will not be able to agree with that. There are just so many preferences and issues, and it's not necessarily the issues, it's just the fact that, a lot of agents want to see the Division 2's PvP made in the image of the Division 1's PvP. So the Division 1's PvP is actually, categorized as being more superior. And even Destiny's PvP, in my opinion, from what I've seen and what I've played Destiny 2's PvP. I did not think that the Division's PvP, was better. I think it's a matter of preference, but it's hard to convince Division agents right now that the PvP is better than anything out there. So we'll just leave it at that. I mean, you have to know the issues within the game to be able to say that. Destiny has more customization options for the agents. Let's just see how they put this. The option to play as humans bags Destiny 2 the winner in the character customization department. Well, do you want aliens running the streets of DC? You know what I mean? I guess that's something that we need to make sure of. But again, at the same time, Destiny just has a hand up on that. I guess we can just say that. While Division 2 also allows players to tailor the gender, facial features, and clothing of their agent, Destiny 2 lets players customize the race of their guardian and decide on race-specific features, such as antennae, glowing eyes, modular paints, parts, paints, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I agree. I say sure. The Division 2 has better enemies. Do you mean better AI? Yes. This game excels at AI. I mean, I'm happy whenever they give Division anyone. You kind of see me happy. While Destiny 2 has more varied enemy types, given the galactic setting of the game, Division 2's enemies are more challenging to battle against, since players may chance upon higher level areas early on in the game. Even when battling same level enemies, they feel more like actual threats than papier-mâché. You could just written paper-mâché. I know what that is. The way Division 2 enemies react to damage is something else too. Though they may be bullet sponges, bruh, you didn't have to go there, man. It's an RPG. Their jerks and fumbles make bullets feel more impactful. With regards to bosses, however, each game has taken the full potential of their setting to maximize their boss's abilities and complexity. In a sense, I think complexity will probably be Destiny 2, in my opinion, from what I've seen. Abilities, I would say Destiny 2 Division. It's more about the whole than just that part of it. You know what I mean? But when it comes to enemy AI behavior, that's where the Division 2's AI excels. There is no doubt in the industry, or if you at least take the time to play the Division game, you will definitely see that there is actually some really, really strong, AI design in terms of the enemies. The enemies are intuitive and they play very well. Destiny 2 has a better story. I agree. At first, I would never have agreed, and I'm a Division agent, but there is a lot of respect given to the lore of Destiny 2. I mean, it's just hands down, in my opinion, the way the lore is valued, the story is big. The Division 2 story, the Division 1 story, I think should have just basically driven the entire narrative of the game. And everything that was done extra in Division 2, I don't think should have necessarily been added on top. It really made the story watered down. This says Division 2 story is all right with its generic military and rebel characteristics. Wow. That's harsh. Destiny 2's complex characters, on the other hand, are miles ahead of that of the Divisions. Players get a bright, inspiring companion that isn't as obnoxious as Link's from The Legend of Zelda. Some valiant heroes here or there, and towering villains with voices deeper than a black hole. Yeah, our characters in the Division 2, they were a little awkward. The Division 1, we had Rhodes and, we had the other guy that were very New York. So, the people of New York, thank you. They sounded like where they were from. So they really did lend credence to, that area. But we didn't have enough of them in that sense. In the Division 2, they sounded a lot more robotic, and then Kelso kind of sounded like she was crazy. We couldn't even tell her intentions that she was actually one of the solid ones. She just sounded nuts. I don't know why. That's the vibe I got from, the way Kelso was written. I feel like she could have been written much better, but it just did not come off really strong. At least with Jessica Kendall, we knew that she was a know-it-all type scientist lady, so it was very genuine. And we knew Faye Loud genuinely cared about you as an agent, but we just didn't have enough characters in the Division 1 to be able to expound the lore. And by the time we got to Division 2, it just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't flow, nor did it gel very well. In fact, I like Boomer's voice than some of the voice acting in some of the characters. You know, the way Boomer says, "Oh, we gonna do this now." I prefer that voice over than many other things in the game. And then finally, the Division 2 is less grindy. Oh, okay. With Division 2's open world seamlessly stitched together with its various activities, events, hidden loot, missions, its gameplay always feels fresh each time the player loads into the game. Its varied level design and labyrinth-like areas never let players feel the monotony of repetition. There are side contents, random enemy encounters, and collectibles scattered all throughout the world, making leveling up fun and engaging. I have to say, you can grind the Division for a long time, even though it may seem things are repetitive. The missions are repetitive, but the open world, since I've been leveling up another character in a different accounts to get to shade level 1000 on my PlayStation account, I have actually enjoyed the open world of the Division more than I actually have ever since I've been playing the game. And I've logged in a good amount of hours. I think right now I'm sitting on, just a regular YouTuber, log in over 1,000 hours. That's usually what we do. I know some of you are like, oh, I got 4,000 hours. Well, yeah, we got to make videos. So that's usually the time average that most YouTubers have logged into the game. And so it says, if Destiny players really, really want legendary end quest loot or some extra XP, they'll often find themselves redoing certain missions until they achieve their goal. Man, that must be really, really tough. That must be really, really tough in terms of that. But I think these are just, the opinions of somebody who wrote an article. I guess there's a second article, what the Division and Destiny 2 could learn from each other. This is published by somebody else, September 2020. There are these opinions out there, but to be very honest, these opinions don't necessarily, they don't really strike at the heart of everything that a Division game has to offer. The Division is a very, very in-depth game. It has a lot more than just say, you just running into the open world and doing all kinds of stuff. It really does provide a lot of depth. It really does provide a lot of value. And Destiny is also a good game in its own right. It just commands a lot of respect within gamers in the community. And I'm just really excited that we have both games, both games can continue to do great things. If we have another game added to the mix, maybe it might actually bring, a lot more players to them. But again, one big thing that wasn't mentioned is the first person versus third person. This is a big preference. Many of us would probably like Destiny if it was third person. And that's one of the big reasons many agents don't play Destiny from the Division's community. It's just that one small tiny thing. But this video is stretched really long, man. But I appreciate you guys for rocking with the video and for, tuning in. Hopefully we'll talk very soon. Thanks for watching. Peace out.